All right, so now we figured out the sum of square total. We'll put this down here somewhere. Sum of square total. Now we need the sum of squares within groups. And this is looking at within each of these groups, what is the sum of squares? Well, it's just one number. So we're looking at the variance that can be found within each of these groups. It's just one number. So how do we do that? So we're going to take our next formula, which is sum of squares within equals the sum of x minus, now instead of the mean of the total, it's the mean of each group. And we're going to square it again. So what that means is we're going to take for each group x minus the mean for that group. So let's go ahead and put it in perspective. We can take the top one here, or I'm sorry, the first one here, and go ahead and express it, which would be something like 3 minus 2 squared plus 2 minus 2 squared plus 1 minus 2 squared. Again, 2 here because that is the mean for that particular group. So that's what we're expressing here. Then we move on to the next line. And again, I'm just going to do it on the bottom. You can do this in a row, doesn't really matter, but I'm going to just make it sort of easier to read here by doing it in one row down. And we're going to take the mean of that group in comparison to the others. So 3 minus 4 plus 4 minus 4, all these are squared, plus 5 minus 4. And lastly, for the last group, 5 minus 6 squared plus 6 minus 6 squared plus 7 minus 6 squared. And so when we calculate this, we're going to get 3 minus 2's 1 squared is 1, 2 minus 2 squared is 0, 1 minus 2 squared is 1. We have 3 minus 4, that's 1 again. 4 minus 4, that's 0. 5 minus 4, that's 1. And we have, lastly, 5 minus 6, 1. 6 minus 6, 0. 7 minus 6 squared, 1 again. So as you can see, it's 2, 2, and 2. Easy enough. 2, 2, 2. Grand total of 6. That is the sum of squares within groups. And really what this means is this is the total variance, and this is the total variance accounted within each of these groups. Lastly, we're going to look at between. What amount of variance is accounted for between groups?